Okay, welcome back. We've got some of our presentation completed. We've got our title slide, and I've got 3 slides. And what we have is we have some information in there. We've changed the color of the background, the color of the font. We've chosen a very nice font, and we've also added bullet points. We've added images, and we've also looked at changing the shape of an image, as well as adding a border around the image, as well as a piece of text. Now, what we're going to be looking at today is I've added bullet points. Now, my bullet points should be sub-bullet points, because what I have here is, as you can see, the creatures in the ocean. I've got some of the creatures that can be found in the ocean are, and then I have a list of creatures. Now, it doesn't make sense where these bullet points, which are the creatures that can be found, the sharks, the seabirds, are the same type of bullet point as the previous bullet point. So where that's a list, that should be something called a sub-bullet point. So what I'm going to do is, if I click on sharks and just at the beginning of sharks, I'm going to click on the tab key. Now, the tab key on your keyboard is a key which is just on top of the caps lock, or just underneath the 1 next to the Q, and it's got 2 arrows pointing in different directions. Okay, so once I click the tab key, what you can see is it pushes sharks in a little bit. That's called indentation. So it indents the word shark a little bit, and it also indents a bullet point, making it a little bit smaller as well. Okay, so what we want to do is any bullet points that we do have, which should be sub bullet points, we can indent them. Now, that's how we can do one at a time. But what I'm also going to show you is how to do more than one at a time. So I'm going to highlight the rest of the bullet points. And again, I'm going to click the tab key and indent that. There we go. So it's indented all of those bullet points, and it has also made them slightly smaller. So if I wish to add another bullet point to that, not a sub bullet point, but another bullet point, if I click at the end of shellfish, not selfish, shellfish, and I click on enter, as you can see, it gives me another sub bullet point. Now I'm going to hold the shift key and then tap on tab. So the shift key will be the one on top of control, or CTRL, pointing upwards. So I'm going to hold on the shift key, and I'm going to click on the tab key. And what that does is that pushes that bullet point back. Okay, so I've got a list of creatures which can be found in the ocean, and I can mention the largest of these creatures is the humpback whale. You may want to go ahead, if you do have any sub bullet points that need to be made sub bullet points, if you guys want to go ahead and amend that for me. Now, the last thing we're going to do is we're going to add some animation to our presentation. Now, if we look at slide 3, there's a lot of information there. I have reduced it a little bit, but still it does look like a lot of information. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add some animation to this slide. And what animation does is, number 1, it slowly gives you the information, so it doesn't seem as boring, okay? And it engages our audience as well. Okay, what do I mean by engaging? It keeps them engaged. It keeps them wanting to take part in the presentation, to look at the presentation, to watch the presentation. Okay, they're not looking at the presentation and all of a sudden they're looking around and falling asleep. No, they want to focus on the presentation. So we need to ensure our presentation is engaging. Do you fall asleep or start looking around when playing games or watching cartoons? No, because they're engaging. Okay, you may end up falling asleep during some of my lessons if I'm not engaging enough, but I try to be as engaging as possible. So let's go and I nearly fell asleep there as well. Let's go ahead and add some animations in. So let's start off with slide 2. Now we need to think about the order that everything will come in. Okay, the first thing I want to come in is my title. So I'm going to start off with a blank slide. My title will then come in. So let's click on my title, and I'm going to click on the edge of the box. So I've selected that whole box, and I have a button here that says animate. Okay, I can also go to insert animation. That's one method. So insert and animation, or I can click on the animate button like so. And what that's done is, as you can see, that's brought a whole tab along the right hand side and will give me the options. So at the moment we have no slide transition. We're not going to play around with slide transitions just yet. We're going to head down to animations, and the first drop down box that I have gives me a range of different types of animation I can add. Now, other software you may use will have more types of animation. Google Slides is a little bit restricted, but we need to try and understand exactly what each of these animations do. You have different types of animation. You have entry animations, so that's the way that asset or that object, in this case the title, will come in. You have emphasis, so they're already on the screen. You may want to make it a bit bigger or a little bit smaller. That's emphasis, so that sort of emphasizes that a little bit more. Or you have exit animations, and that would refer to the way your animation will exit. So if we do apply an exit animation, that would imply, or that would mean that our asset, in this case our title, is already on the screen. So if I was to use an exit animation, my title will be there and it will just come off the screen. So we need to try to understand what some of these mean. So if I'm thinking about appear, is that entrance, is that emphasis, or is that exit? Okay, if something will appear, that's correct. That is an entrance animation. Disappear is an exit. Well done. Fade in would be entrance. Good. Fade out. Well done. Exit. Okay. Flying in would be entrance. Flying out would be exit. If I have zoom in and zoom in, zoom out, and spin, those will be emphasis because they're already on the screen. Would simply either zoom in, zoom out, or spin around. So I want my title to come in. I'm going to get it to fly in from the top. So let's do that. Fly in from the top. And then the next drop down box will be, do I want it to happen when the user clicks? Do I want it to happen after the previous animation or with the previous animation? Okay, so if we keep them on click now, what that would mean is that the user will then need to click for that title to come in. If we use after previous, it will happen at the same time as the previous animation, so it will be automatic. If we do if we do after previous, it will happen after the previous animation, with previous, obviously with the previous animation. So we're going to keep on click for now. Okay, and now that's done. Okay, I can change the speed of this animation if I wish. So if I want it to come in faster or slower, I can toggle that little setting, and that's done. So if I play that, okay, why is nothing happening? Because I didn't click. Once I click, that's when it will come on. Okay, so now let's add another animation. So I'm going to click on this little button here, add animation. Okay, and if you can see, that's already got the fade in. Okay, I'm going to get that to fly in from the left. Okay, and I want that to happen after the previous. Okay, and let's keep the speed as it is. So let's see how that appears. So again, okay, now the mistake I had made there is I had still selected that same asset. Okay, so I've made a mistake. So what do I need to do? I'm going to click on this bin here and that will delete that. Okay, so if you want to go ahead and animate your title, pause me for now and then come back and then we will animate the next piece. Okay, so now I'm going to click on this text box here and I will click on the edge. I'm going to add an animation. I'm going to get this to fly in from the left. Okay, and I'm going to make this happen after the previous. Okay, so let's test that out now. There we go. That's looking a lot better. I've clicked. I clicked once and my title came in. and straight after that, my text flew in from the left. Now, what I'm also going to add to this, okay, so as you can see, if I click on this arrow here, that will bring me the options. I'm going to make that animate by paragraph. So instead of all of the information coming in at once, they will simply come in one at a time. Okay, you may want to play that. You may want to slow that down a little bit, which I will do. Okay, let's make that medium. And as you can see, it does tell me how long each animation will take. And the last thing I'm going to animate on top of this will be my image. So I'm also going to get my image to fade in. And let's make that at the same time as my text before that. And let's make that animate very slowly. Okay, so I've animated my 3 objects there. You may do them in the wrong order. If you do, that's not a problem. You can use these little blocks on the right-hand side to drag them up and down. Okay, but anyway, let's see how that looks. So at the moment, blank screen, that looks really nice. Nothing's happening because I need to click. Okay, and because I've slowed it down, as you can see, they are coming very slowly. Okay, so you can go ahead and add animation to all of your slides, and that would make your slides a little bit more interesting. And again, especially on my 3rd slide here, with all the information coming in one by one, it will make it that little bit more interesting. You may want to add an extra image on the back or onto this slide, which we'll go ahead and do now as well. I think it's a cool trick for some of you guys to be able to learn. So let's insert another image. Let's search oceans. Okay, let's find one which we really like. I do like, let's try and keep it blue. Let's keep this. So I'm going to drag this onto my, oh, it was unable to do that one. For some reason, it could have been the type of file. Let's do this one. This one is nice. It looks a little bit like the view from my window. Okay, now as I drag that on, I'm going to move that in the middle. Now, we can resize that. We can make that bigger from the right-hand side, but the problem is that will stretch that image. Now, as we're not stretching it too much, it may not look too bad. That's okay. And because it's just the sea, the ocean, not the sea, the ocean and the clouds with it stretched, it doesn't look too bad either. Now, the problem I have here is I cannot see my text. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do 2 things. The first thing I'm going to do is right-click on that image. So if you're using a mouse, you use the right-hand side of your mouse, usually your middle finger. If you're using a touchpad, if you use 2 fingers and tap on your touchpad, that will right-click. I'm going to go over to order, and I will send that to the back. Now, the problem I have here is my text is still not too readable. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on Format Options. I'm going to head over to Adjustments, and I'm going to play with the transparency a little bit of that image. Okay, so I've made that a lot more transparent. So the transparency on that at the moment, on that image, is 60% transparent. And so what we have is we have that image in the background, the text on top of that, and it's still nice and easy to read. So please make sure you've done that. So what we've done so far is we have added sub-bullet points. We've looked at how we can do that all together by selecting everything and using the tab button at once. We've looked at how we can cancel the sub-bullet points by using the shift and tab to bring that back. We've also looked at how we could add animations, on-click animations, as well as automatic animations. And we looked at how we can add an image, change the order of the image or our assets. So I could have brought something forward and change the transparency of an image as well. So let's try and get those last few bits done. Okay, and I wish you all a great half-term break.